Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Room, hot topic for us to. Oh, don't worry about it. We're learning from you this morning.
When you say hot seat.
As is usually the case. We go around the continent every week, and this week we're in a different country. We'd like you to interpret the proverb that Dennis is going to share and see what you think about that.
Okay.
Yes, so our proverb today comes from Madagascar, the fourth largest island in the world, and it's a unique country in the sense that it's the only country in the world that has lemurs in it, and also the country that exports a majority of vanilla that the world enjoys today. And they also have this proverb that talks about being humble, and says, those that can't humble themselves are like a withering tree. Those that can't humble themselves are like a withering tree. How would you interpret that?
Those that can't humble themselves are like a withering tree.
Yes.
I think what I think about that proverb is I don't want to use humility because humble is humility because you don't define
A word using a word.
A word using a word.
Yeah.
But I say that if you don't understand who you are and what comes your way, you might just get hurt. Yeah. You just need to be need to have some sort of humility as a human being. Yeah.
Okay. You need to have some. It takes you a long way, essentially. So our Justice Thursday conversation this morning is around a societal issue. It's marriage, but then on the other end of it, we're looking into divorce. And why does this happen? Marriage is universal, but some still end in divorce. Even though a larger majority of Kenyans are married, some relationships still terminate in divorce. Data shows that 1.4% of women aged 15 to 49 were divorced compared to 1% of the same in men. The 2019 census also found similar levels of divorce in the country, with 1.1 of women aged between 12 and above being divorced and 0.6 men above 12 being divorced. Divorce has become more prevalent in later years. However, marriages become more strenuous as time passes, and there is no doubt that some will result in divorce several years later. It's evident in Kenya, whereby a slightly larger share of men and women in older age groups are likely to be divorced than those in younger age groups. We're seeing that censuses reveal that these numbers have risen quite significantly from 2019. And then to ask ourselves the question, what is the rate of divorce? That we're looking at numbers that about 10% of marriages in Kenya result and are resulting in divorce today. We're going to look at that from a legal point of view as our Justice Thursday conversation, but also looking at it from a societal point of view today and start to ask questions around the rates that we are seeing and the differences then between separations and then leading into full-fledged divorces and what people actually do around those. So thank you for joining us to have that conversation this morning. We would have had a legal mind here as well, but, circumstances show otherwise. Now, Rosalind, what are some of the reasons people come and sit in your chair when it comes to the dissolution of marriage?
First, let me say, divorce for me, marriage as an institution, for me, it's very close to my heart. And that's why I became a family and marriage therapist. Yeah. And when couples come in for therapy, a couple who come in for therapy, I think they believe there's hope. There's hope in terms of let's try this. Most of them, let's say, this is our last hope for this marriage to work. So they come in to try the marriage to work. But there are others just who come in and walk in by themselves and say, you know what, I'm exhausted. I can't manage this relationship anymore, and I think I need it. I need you to help me. How do we walk out in this relationship in a very amicable way, right? And it's so sad that the lawyer is not in, because it's very important for us as therapists to work together with lawyers, so that there's no conflict when it comes to divorce proceedings. So to your questions, the first thing that we do is a genogram. we draw a genogram. Genogram is like a family tree. A family tree is where we see the patterns of divorce in your family. So probability of divorce being high in a family is if there's been patterns of divorce from grandfather, grandmother, all that. They seem to be a pattern. Because when a pattern is there, it's familiar. So when somebody asks for divorce, it's familiar because I have maybe a person, the client will say, my parents, I came out well and my parents divorced. Or my mom and my dad did not live together and it is okay. So there is no fear because they have already walked that path when they were young. That's the first thing we look at. Even when you're doing premarital counseling, the first thing we do is the genogram, the family tree, so that when you're going into this relationship, you need to understand the pattern. Is there divorce in this family? And not everyone who comes from a divorced parent will also divorce. But the important is the information so that you know and you start working on it towards working against it. The other thing is the intentions, expectations of the relationship. What do you expect in this marriage? More often than not is we get into a relationship when our expectations are not similar. Are you getting married because everyone else around you is reached of age and everyone else is getting married and you're not? Are you getting married because you want financial independence, financial freedom? Are you getting married because you're running away from your home? Maybe your family home is toxic. So the reason of marriage can also be the reason for divorce, right? The other thing is when you're already in the marriage, if there's abuse. Yeah? There's a doctor that I really follow, and Dr. Gottman has put four things actually, for reason for couples to divorce. There's criticism. Criticism when you're constantly criticizing each other, or your partner is criticizing you. Yeah. There's contempt. Contempt in Kiswahili is madharau. Your partner doesn't respect you, shows you contempt. Always, there's always that. And then there's defense. Every time you have conflict, you're always on defense. So every time there's conflict and argument, you sweep everything under the carpet. Yeah? And then there's stonewalling. You don't want to face the facts. You don't want to face the issue at hand. So I can go on and on and on into why people seek for divorce. But the key thing and the high thing that people count for divorce is abuse. Emotional, financial, economic. It's just you're being abused and you want to get out of this relationship. Yep.
Okay. Now, if we look at these numbers, actually those numbers that we've given previously, those statistics, actually looking at a lot more of those, we've seen trends of up to, beyond now 15%. And why they occur, 10% are talking about like you said, infidelity, interference from in-laws, financial issues, abuse, desertion, and cruelty. We're also seeing that 42% of these divorces occur within the first 5 years of marriage. 77% of those occur within 10 years of marriage. And there's a 10% national divorce rate. That's what we're looking at in Kenya today. What would you say? So amongst those, you talk about abuse being the highest in terms of the reasons as to why. Who's this abuse to, and what kind of abuse are we talking about?
Interestingly, abuse is on both sides. I also get men who come for therapy and they have actually been abused by their wives. And when these men come, they're actually coming to find out the answers on what they should do. But the highest number of people being abused in a relationship are women, right? So you find maybe you marry an alcoholic, he comes home drunk and he beats you up. Maybe you marry just a person who is not narcissistic, but has narcissistic kind of trends, right? And the three horsemen, the three things I've told you, he brings them out. There's always conflict, there's always argument. There's no single time that house is at rest. And this abuse also comes into and affects your children. Yeah. And even when you tell your parents, there's no no one seems to be understanding the shoe that you're wearing, right? So, in fact, when a client comes in and there's abuse in a relationship, as a therapist, we recommend separation. We don't even think twice. We recommend separation when we ask you, where can you go? Because at the end of the day, you'll die, you'll be killed. There's no familiaring there. You need to go, you need to run. Yeah.
So how does that tie in to religion and faith matters? Because the two are intertwined in a way. So as you're giving therapy and you're counseling this couple that has come, that last point of kuvumilia, we've had incidents where in the context of Christianity, the idea here is, since you got married, the point is through the struggles, because they will say there are phases then in marriage, that whatever it is that you're going through, whether it's that abuse itself, then it's not, they don't encourage separation. They say, pray for this person. They're going to be better. So how then do you blend in where you're talking about therapy and you're addressing also matters of faith in this setup where somebody then is told, you know what, my pastor told me, we vumilia too, continue praying for this man, he's going to change. And faith tells you that, look on the brighter side, see this person has already changed.
And forgive 7 times, 7 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that the Bible tells us, and I must say I'm also a Christian. But we've had many situations where people have been told, hold on, vumilia, and it comes to death, or there's death, there's injury, there's, So we actually need, and I hope churches will listen to this, we actually need to separate. When there's abuse in any relationship, there's no vumiliani. There is nothing like that, because you will get hurt. Yeah, no parent, no mother gave birth to you. Yeah, to be injured by another person. No one was brought into this world to be beaten by another person, and that is not the right thing. The name, in fact, clients come in and they say, yeah, I went to a pastor and I was told to hold on, but I can't hold on anymore. They can't hold on because they're losing themselves. You find a person who had everything. This girl had so much going on, but they enter and marry this guy who actually drains the spirit, the life out of her. Will you tell, even if it is your daughter, vumilia ukae hapo? That is a wrong advice. The advice is, please get help, get your peace.
So here's a question where, if you look at the stats, let me just go into the numbers a little bit. Now, as of 2022, 1.4% of married women aged 15 to 49 are divorced, compared to 1% of married men. But separation is much more common at 7.9% of married women and 4.6% of married men. So now, when you look at these numbers in terms of separation, and that is even worse on men or on older couples aged between 45 to 49, the numbers tend to go high. But here's a question where recently I was in the northern part of the country and I was having a discussion with men, and within that community there is an aspect that they believe that a woman has to be beaten. It is a culture ingrained that even when a woman is getting into marriage, they know being beaten up is part of the game. It is okay to do that. And if you dig deeper, you find that separation in marriages in that community are also high. But how then do you bring now your expertise and challenge what culture is saying for sanity to be there? How does one go around that?
It's very difficult to come in and challenge a culture or try and change a culture that is already been there. So as an expert, what we can do is just to build advocacy, policies, and advice, right? Because even when we talk about culture and religion, it's more or less the same thing. And to bring what the question here said, it is the same thing. Because religion and culture tells us, you know what, you need to stay there no matter what, because that's your husband, that's your wife, and deal with that. But an expert point of view, we come in and say, you know what, you're going to be hurt. So it's up to you as an individual, to actually look internally and tell yourself, you know what, I know there's a lot of stigma when it comes to divorce. There's a lot of stigma when it comes to separation. And culture, you might even be ostracized out of that culture, especially the culture from North India. Yes. Divorce is not there. Yeah. But you as a person, as an individual, you actually need to get help and decide, I need to step out. It's difficult. Even people who are not very into culture, well-learned people, they come in for therapy and you tell them, you know what, this marriage is going to kill you. You need to step out. There's fear, there's stigma. There's so much is happening in that person's life. They don't want to do that. They don't want to step out.
Then when you say divorce is a bad thing, is it?
Divorce is not really a bad thing. If you can come in, because clients come in and they want to divorce. But the reason for divorce is something that we can actually sit around the table and let's talk and we agree. And for marriage is two. It takes two to tango. I can't work on this relationship by myself. My husband has to come in also and we work together. So as long as you're working together as a couple, whatever reason it is, it can work. But if one party is working and the other party is not, that's going to be very difficult for that to work. It takes two.
So, Rosalind, so a couple comes to you.
Yeah.
How can they distinguish that, look, what you're going through is a temporary marital struggle, or this is beyond repair? What are those things that then can distinguish these two? That the first will then lead to separate, find yourself, think through this, and this other person does that. But you're looking at another case where you're looking at it and you're listening and you're thinking, this is purely beyond repair.
Okay, good question. So when a couple comes in, we take the history, right? It's intake form, and we actually sit and take the history. How long have you been married? What is the issue? How frequent is the issue? How is it affecting your life? Yeah, is there depression? Is there abuse? What kind of abuse is there? How frequent is that abuse? Right? Is one of you maybe dependent on substance? Because we find that people who are actually substance dependents have higher rate of abusing their spouses. Are the children affected? Who have you talked to? Who is in your community? There's so many things we ask, right? And if we find frequency of this, in fact, the interesting thing, the couple has the answers. Yeah. Then we also have tools that we give them. Yeah, I'll give you a tool to work on. And where you tick, it's like questionnaires, different kind of questionnaires measuring different kind of things. Yeah. So the questionnaires come and we value them. Then we also measure your anxiety, depression, kind of thing. Then from there, that's when now we come in. And it's an evaluation. It's not an evaluation for one sitting or the 3 sessions. Even for the 3rd session, that's when we see that maybe this marriage might not work. But if it's an abuse, the law says that every time you find your client is abused, as per the law, you as a therapist or the psychologist is supposed to report to the nearest police station that this person is being abused. In fact, when you come into therapy, the first thing a therapist tells you, if you tell me something that is harmful to you or harmful to someone else, I'm obliged by the law of Kenya to report that this person is being abused. That is the first session. Yes.
Okay. We're talking about divorce this morning on our Justice Thursday conversation, and we're going to take a break and come back and continue with this, because obviously there's some questions that folks have that you then ask yourself, okay, so then how do you know that this is the direction in which we should be going? And maybe does a separation for a little while then help things to cool? How do you know if you should then go then further and make it final? Rosalind Keegan is a licensed marriage and family therapist, joins us this morning. We were going to have also a lawyer here with us to look at what the law then says and what you can or cannot do. We'll continue with this conversation all the same.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Every now and then, fake news might pull a few strings. But when it comes to reporting the facts, there's only one tune we dance to, our own. For more than 100 years, The Standard has delivered insightful fact-based journalism. And you can't fake that.
We value your feedback and welcome your comments, queries, and complaints regarding our content. You can get in touch with us via SMS on 22151, call 0719 012 111 or 0732 142 000, or email feedback@standardmedia.co.ke. Our PO Box number is 30080-00100 Nairobi, or deliver to our offices at Standard Group Center, Mombasa Road, Nairobi.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Whereby it says in your head, actually, if I'm going to be honest, perhaps I shouldn't have married this fella. You know, are there red flags that when people come before you that you sit and you say, actually, yes, these are things that we've seen that these are unfixable things. I remember that a pastor once said, there's nothing that's unforgivable. There's nothing that's unforgivable, that you then should be able to work things out. But you say that, no, abuse is one of those. If you're being beaten to a pulp, you should go. One of the comments that we're seeing reminding us of some of the things that actually happened. We recently saw a video where a gentleman was pouring hot porridge. And you know how porridge is. It's crazy. Hot porridge on this woman in the presence of her child, and was essentially abusing her really terribly. And then you want to ask, would you not have noticed these tendencies in this person before you married them?
When you're dating and you just started having this relationship, there's a lot of love in the air. And in fact, when clients come, we ask them, tell me about your dating life. And you know, they've really been arguing, but they're coming into your room and you want to know how their dating life. And there's a smile. Even when they're arguing, there's a smile. We met here, we met in campus, and everything was okay. And then now you ask them, tell me, were there any red flags? In the hindsight, yeah. There were red flags. She used to bully a lot, or he used to argue a lot. Yes. The clients, people see red flags, but because there's so much anticipation of getting into in a marriage in a hurry, and not actually going out and actually asking yourself, or doing a very effective premarital counseling program, they don't see that red flag.
Is it a
Or
case
they
of
ignore it? Sorry.
They ignore, or maybe they feel, maybe I'll be able to change this person.
Both. It's ignored.
Okay.
It's ignored because when you were dating, he slapped you.
Oh no, he didn't. Oh, I'm just going. Sorry. What?
Or the first year of marriage, or even in honeymoon, he made
slaps
noise.
you, yeah.
He slaps you. He paused, or she did something, but it's like, let me just let it go, or you ignore it.
Maybe I'm the reason why he slapped me.
Yeah. You start blaming yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly. Maybe you're the reason why. So one time, second time, third time. Now it comes to you being poured porridge. It starts with something small, but end up you being abused, and it might take you to the grave. Or you might just have a permanent injury because you did not check on the red flags. And imagine those red flags. All I know is once you get those red flags, they can be worked on. Yeah, you can get, and it can be worked on.
When we started the conversation, there is the aspect you talked of in the sense that you find divorce has several causes, and one that you mentioned is interference by in-laws and whatnot. But it's a question where we met in campus, happy life, happy wife, we were doing well, dating phase, proposal is good, marriage is good, and the night, honeymoon, everything easy. Now you get into marriage and you find a situation where now the in-laws start interfering to a point where now you're like, you need to talk to your people and put that barrier, because the only engagement, I can't talk to your people, you need to talk to your people and ask them to stop. Just what are the cases like in terms of the numbers that you see on divorce cases coming before you because of interference from in-laws?
They're not as much as infidelity and other, but they're there. The in-laws come in when even let me tell you something. The interesting thing is when you were dating, and especially if you marry a guy who's really close to the mother, or the lady is really close to moms. We are the ones who are really. We are
Spoilers.
We are the ones.
Mama meharibu msichana.
Yeah. So every mistake, everything that happens, every decision you need to make, even when you're dating, you'll find he's calling mom. Or she's calling mom. And you find, oh, it's cute. So when you get married year 1, year 2, everything that's done, parents are involved. And it's like, no, this is too much. So the involvement of in-laws is, it can be a cause of divorce. And it's always, in fact, nowadays, it's important if you have an issue in your relationship. Kindly avoid even going to your parents for advice.
Why?
Because my mom will take my side, and the parent will take the man's side. Yeah. The best person to help you in your marital things is a qualified therapist. Yeah. Because parents take each other people's sides. And let me tell you something. What happens is, if you fight, you go tell your parents you fought and you've made up and you'll never fight again. But the way your in-laws will look at this man or you again will never be the same. It will change. The respect they had will change. The only time now you bring in your parents, if you two have actually decided, you know what, it is done, it is over, now we need to tell them it's done. Unless you are sure that your parents will not take your side, or the very, where do I put it? They will not prefer your side than the other person's side, because in-laws really also spoil marriages.
Okay. More recently, and especially now, we are seeing that a lot more marriages are ending in divorce, and that it's much easier for folks to make the decision to leave a marriage, and that and really quickly, it's not considered that should we give it a chance, do we give it an opportunity. Usually, once there is that feeling of we're at the end and we can't take it, quickly it is ending. Is that recommended, or should there be more of an attempt given towards trying to sort things out?
The reason why I personally became a marriage and family therapist is to help marriages, right? And they should, as long as it's not toxic, not abusive, there should be a way you can sit down with your partner and find a way to solve this relationship, whether it's infidelity, whether it's just communication, mistrust. Some of the things that you find through going through a relationship is things from your upbringing, family of origin, some things you never actually dealt with, and you're marrying a stranger. So two strangers coming together with two different values from home, two different expectations, two different environments, coming to live in one house. Tell me, why wouldn't there be conflict? Why wouldn't there be conflict? There will be conflict, yes. So the thing is, you as a couple, you need to find the mechanism of addressing this conflict. The first thing is understand yourself as a person. I need to know who Rose is, understand who Rose is, so that Rose can introduce herself to this person that she's getting married, and vice versa. But what happens is we get married and we don't know who we are. Hence conflict.
What? Okay, sorry.
Which brings the next question in terms of the need of having premarital counseling. That is very key, because here's a question where I come from County X, from a certain home, and I have baggage that I've carried up based off my upbringing, and you come from this other part of life with your own baggage, and that perhaps we need to shed off before we make the decision that we're settling down as a couple, as husband and wife. Just how critical then is premarital counseling?
You know, you're singing to the choir. I've even written a workbook on premarital counseling for an expert workbook on premarital counseling, because most premarital counseling books are the church-based. So we've done one workbook that is just expert, and it's very, very important, because in premarital, that's when now you're actually introducing yourself to each other. And if you get an effective person taking you through premarital, that's where they'll take you through the family of origin. What we do is we actually ask the couple to draw their family tree, 3 generations, and we put it out there, and we see the patterns. What are these patterns? Do you have a lot of divorce? Is there alcoholism? Yeah? Is there early marriages? How do people deal with conflicts at home? Because how you deal with conflict at home is how you deal with conflict in your house. Because if you do not deal with conflict, if you do not talk to each other and you swept things down, that's how you deal it even in your marriage. So premarital counseling is very important.
So Rosalind, a lot of the marriages are generally set up under a church. So it's a church that officiates. There's a pastor. And what currently I think is happening in most of these churches is, if a couple is coming to the pastor and they're telling the pastor, we want to get married, they go through the church pre-counseling. So, and I'm assuming each church has their own workbook. And so, when you are saying you've come up with a workbook, right?
Yeah.
Around pre-counseling.
Yeah.
What are the gaps that you see between those that actually go through a church pre-counseling session or sessions versus what you've come up with? Or what is it that then you've blended in?
The workbook that has been I have created is actually a blend. Yeah, it blend of both church and expert. It's actually let's call it integration. So what the church doesn't emphasize on, and what I'm really emphasizing is checking onto the family of origin. Those days when our parents got married, the key thing people used to look at, which family do you come from? What are these trends that are in this family? Yeah, and that is very important. So now the other thing that is in a workbook, and we do as an expert, if you go to a premarital counseling, is your attachment your attachment styles. Yeah, what are your attachment styles? What are your love languages style? Your attachment styles, let me just put it, also is a very big thing when it comes to your relationship. Are you insecure? Are you secure? Are you avoidance? Are you anxious? And that can only be done by an expert. Yeah. The other thing that also can be done is the sexual orientations, in terms of how do we satisfy each other sexually? That has to be effectively discussed in premarital. Was there rape when you were growing up? Yeah. What was sex discussed when you're growing up? So that even when you get married, I've had even couples coming in their honeymoons, they've not had sex. Why? Because the girl was told sex is bad. Sex is not good. Do not expose yourself. Do not show yourself. So in her mind, she still believes it is bad. So she doesn't know how to. She still has the mothers, the pastors, the mothers' voices in her head. So when you come for premarital, those are the things now our therapists will unwind and will change the narrative and make you ready for marriage. So there are several things that are missed out when it comes to premarital counseling in churches, and when you do a premarital counseling with an expert. But we need to tell you that the ones with experts are integrated with the church. Yeah.
Rose, why do people get married?
Why do people get married?
Yes.
That's a very good question. I think it's for companion, number one. And number two is, I believe, is everyone else is, what people come and say, everyone else is getting married, and so even me, I'll get married. And then number two is pressure from home. Yeah, I've come at an age where I'm reaching this age and I need to get married. And three is I don't want to bring, I want a child. I don't want to get a child out of wedlock. I want to get married.
Okay. Because if we can find out why people get married, then and this has to be if we find out why people are truly getting married, then we can also find out why people then are truly getting divorced.
True.
Can we make a connection between the two?
That comes in expectations.
Okay.
And I like that question, because what I ask my clients is, give me your expectations of why you got married. And truth be told, the first 2 years, the expectations are very different to 5 years and very different to 10 years. So what should happen is, as a couple, you need to always keep on asking each other that question: why did we get married? Has our expectation changed? Yeah, why are we in this relationship? Am I meeting your expectations, or are you meeting my expectation? If we are not, what do we do? Yeah, to meet those expectations. That will answer the reason why we are still in this marriage. And that's a very valid question. Yeah. Because if you got married because you made a girl pregnant, yeah, I mean, after, yes, you married, after 1 year, you want to run away from that because there's really nothing much. But some people, yes, make girls pregnant, but they stay together and they fall in love into that, but some don't. Yeah.
Looking at the clients that you have, because Ndu was giving us the figures, you're looking at the age group that comes to you and also gender. Do you have more of the women coming for the therapy sessions than dragging the man, or you have the men then coming dragging their wives, or you have this age group of just young couples who've been in marriage maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 to 5, or you have the older generation, you have 40, 50, 60 plus who are saying, you know what, even if I'm 60, enough is enough. Describe the composition of the kind of people you've seen.
I'm getting young couples for premarital counseling. Yeah, Gen Zs and millennials. Yeah, they're there. They're quite a number, and I'm also having an increase of young men, millennials, age of 35, 30, coming in and dragging in their spouses in for therapy I'm finding that very interesting. Yeah, I'm finding that very interesting. And I also have older generation that are coming in for therapy. But I'm finding very happy. I kind of find very happy when a young man comes in for therapy. Yeah.
So these are cases where men are turning the tables. So previously it was women who are coming for the therapies. Now you have men coming for the therapies on the same.
Yeah. The man will come in and they'll tell you, what do I do? I think, why don't you ask your wife to come in? I'll try. And actually the wife comes in. And it's all because of just relationships and marriages. And this young man really wants this marriage to work. Yeah.
So in Kenya with divorce, and obviously, just let's take a little bit of a step into the legal, just a little bit, because when you, from what I understand, should you want to dissolve your marriage and divorce, you must go back to, you must go to the courts. The courts then will say, well, usually I'm not even sure, but the courts will then either say work this out or try and see if you can mediate, or then after some time will then grant you this divorce. If it has already been deemed in that societal makeup by a therapist, for example, that we can't just do this and we must go, why do we then have to seek from the legal entities to get that done?
Because marriage is legal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either you do traditional or you do through the court. It's a legal document. So it's very important. And there's also property and children that is in this marriage. It's not only you and the person. So there's also the children. Yeah. So that's where the legality part of it comes in. So it's very important. Like when couples come in also, is I work closely with some lawyers. Yeah. And when we do now co-parenting, we always advise, what now you need to, and when it comes to property, now you need to go talk to. If you don't have a lawyer, I can give you a family lawyer. Now you go sit and discuss and do the finality. But when it comes to discussion of co-parenting, it's important now you come back to us so that now we safeguard the interests of the children. So the lawyers will do the legal part of it, but us will do the social part of it and making sure this child socially is covered.
Edwin asks that, would you recommend that if we see all of these things and you get scared, would you recommend that somebody lives through life without then getting married?
No, let people get married. It's just you need to understand who you are as a person. And to your question, why do you want to get married? That is very important. Who are you and why do you want to get married? Yeah.
What I find missing in a lot of these conversations is there's the pre-counseling, which then prepares you for the marriage as an institution. That then you look at all these things, expectations, temperament, getting to learn about each other, then to concretize the joining of two people. Then if there are struggles through they say in marriage there are phases, there's the mountain, there is the honeymoon stage, there is the valley and all that. But when now it leads to where there are issues that then lead to separation, like you said, there are points where you can advise, separate. Then beyond separation, you sit down with a couple and you realize this is beyond repair. That's when now they institute divorce proceedings. What I find missing is, and I don't know whether you do that, in many instances, nobody prepares couples for divorce. What I've seen happen is we are going to go to court, then you will fight over property, you'll fight over everything else. There are children involved, but nobody then takes the couple, this decision that you're making, this then is, or these are the phases that you'll go through after your divorce. And so people then, and I was speaking to a lawyer who was telling me another day that it's interesting, the number of people who go to court, they go to the final phases of getting the document signed, then they realize this thing is too much. They now say, you know what, we have agreed to stay together. To avoid all this drama, it's better to just stay together. So why is there that gap in preparing people then who have decided, fine, we want to get divorced? Nobody prepares them
for divorce.
For divorce.
why the gap is there, because they're not aware that they can seek a therapy to prepare them for divorce, because it's divorce therapy. Yeah. And clients come in and say, how do we do this the best? So I think it's just the awareness that people are not aware. And even lawyers should be able to refer to tell clients, you need to go and see a therapist. Because the fact that you're divorced should not be the reason why there should be a lot of fighting, there should be so much on the media. You come and see, and how do we amicably communicate to each other as we do this separation? Yeah. How do we... in fact, divorce therapy also has an angle of co-parenting, and also has an angle, how do we now live apart? How do you now accept that we are no longer together, and start accepting that our spouses will also now start seeing other people, right? So that is part of the divorce therapy. It's just because people are not aware that we do that. Yeah.
But by the time somebody is coming to that point,
yeah,
you're not even talking to each other. The fight has gone to levels where you can't even make a decision that, hey, you know what, let's go see a divorce therapist and talk about this.
And you know what?
Yeah.
Interestingly, people, they'll want to divorce, but when they come and talk to a therapist and you ask them questions, they'll go back and home and say, you know what? Exactly why are we divorcing? Because you'll find that there's really, really no reason for you to actually go for a divorce. Maybe a trial separation will work as you work on yourself, then come back.
Okay. You see, there is also the aspect of, fine, we were getting a divorce, we've agreed we were going separately, but now we're maybe living together or separately, but you're seeing other people on the side, because we know at the end of the day, everyone is going separately. Do you see such cases happen, and what does that do?
So what happens is, when you're coming in for therapy, we agree. Now this is now mediation. We agree on what do we do when we separate. If we decide we are going to go to trial separation, is it okay? And both of you agree to date. Is it okay with hold on to 6 months or 3 months, and we see how it goes? That has to be an agreement for both. And while you're doing trial separation, you should still be coming for individual therapy. Even divorce therapy, you still should be coming for individual therapy, because you're working on yourself. Yeah.
So much to learn, so much to discuss, some things that make us uncomfortable sometimes, but necessary for us to have these conversations, because after all, we're units of society, we're made up, and then, joining in the bigger conversation. You can't do good if you're damaged. And I guess, that's one way to be able to look at it. So we want to thank you so much for being here with us this morning to look through some of these on our Justice Thursday conversation, untying the knots and looking at some of those. So thank you so much. Rosalind Keegan, a licensed marriage and family therapist, has been here with us this hour. Thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Asante, it's 9 a.m.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Get ready for